Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with the Battle Report. So, the player that I play most often normally plays ogres, but we decided to play a game where he would bring something of a net list and use a different army than normal, just for variety and just to help me practice against something I might face at tournaments. So he is using my models, my Empire of Sonnstahl and my Kingdom of Vectran models, um, with something of a net list for the Empire of Sonnstahl. I'm using the exact same list that I used in the last game. Um, and then I tweaked it after this, and that's what I'll be using for Buckeye battles. So let's see, 2,500 points. Starting on the right, he's got a unit of electoral cavalry. Behind it is a mortar. It's being proxied by an old unpainted war machine. Next to that, he's got a couple cannons. There's a couple artificers to support the war machines. In the back, you can barely see it, but he has his battle standard bearer on a Pegasus. I'm going back one. I'm sorry. He has a mortar and then a cannon, and the top left is not another cannon. It's a second mortar. Then he's got really what this army is themed around, and that is two huge blocks of flagellants being proxied by Games Workshop's men at arms. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's good practice to go against these guys because on face value, if you go toe to toe with them, it's just really tough to beat. They always get a strike, no matter if you kill them first. Uh, they have frenzy. They're strength 5, just brutal. Behind him, he's got a couple units of archers. They're lined up as if they're not skirmishers, but they're actually skirmishers. It didn't seem to matter, and it was just going to take more time. He's got a couple level 2 Path of Light. He's got an arcane engine behind it with foreseen. He's got his prelate on the altar of battle to the left. Now he, of course, being Empire of Sonnstahl, has the Locket of Sunna, so he gets to swap stats in challenges. So that's kind of a big deal because I have a couple fighty characters. I need to try to keep away from that. He's got another unit of electoral cavalry, another unit of skirmishing archers behind him, and then on the far left, another unit of electoral cavalry. So on the left, I've got a Chariot, Feral Hounds. I'm ambushing a second unit of Feral Hounds. I'm also ambushing two 20-man units of Wildhorns. I've got my Gortach hiding behind a hill, my level 2 Lore of Shadow hiding behind a hill. I've got 7 Minotaurs with a Minotaur Warlord. Now, my Gortach and the Minotaur Warlord are the only things in my army that I feel somewhat comfortable going into the unit of Flagellants. I think even then it's a risk. But they're high enough toughness with their current builds, and the Gortach can regrow wounds. They at least have a chance. Behind, I have Gargoyles, and then a unit of Longhorns with my Battle Standard Bearer and my Beastlord General. Another Chariot, and let's see, that should be it. So after Vanguard, I move up the Feral Hounds. I deployed first, as I knew I was going to be able to go first. And I pretty much just throw myself up there at them. I've got a unit of Feral Hounds that is protecting me from those Flagellants. If they were to charge them, I think both of them be in their flank. They couldn't reform afterwards, and then it would offer me juicy flank charges. And that is certainly a way I would take on the Flagellants, and my opponent's certainly way too good of a player to fall for that. So I know that he's not going to be doing a whole lot with his Flagellants on his first turn. If you look on the far right, I threw my Mongrel Raiders up there to shoot at his cannon. I don't expect to do anything of significance to it, but they're also kind of blocking his knights. I don't know if the knights can get around him. I don't think they can. And if the knights hit him, I've got a really decent chance at my Chariot being able to countercharge into their flank. All right, nothing of significance happened in the magic phase. I have some spell off on the Minotaurs. I think it's the speed totem up on them. We go to Empire of Sonnstahl turn 1. With his Flagellants, he just scoots them wider apart. Now, my opponent's a really good player, but this is the first time he's used this list. And I think there are things he would do differently. I think he would have deployed with these guys starting out a little wider apart. So, lessons learned, but he scoots them wide. If you look on the top right, went in and charged his knights into my Mongrel Raiders. Here on the left, he tried to charge his knights into my Gortach and failed the charge. I don't know how I feel about that. I wasn't worried about it. And I'm wondering what he's thinking that maybe I should have been worried about it. But I think Gortachs do just fine against a unit of 6 knights. I mean, they might do some wounds to him, but again, he's got a decent chance of getting those wounds back. Of course, if he has a few wounds on him, I wouldn't feel comfortable putting him into the Flagellants. There it is on the right. We go to the shooting phase, and yeah, his cannon hit the Gortach and did a few wounds, and then just had a bunch of strength 3 shooting to throw at him, and was able to pick off, and I think magic as well. I think he just threw everything he had at him, and was able to get the last wound off. The mortars, man, those things are brutal. They're the 5-inch templates, so they hit every model in this unit, and its strength 3 should kill really a third of them minus my armor saves, and it killed more than that. But yeah, so this unit is still, I mean, I never wanted to put this unit into his flagellants anyway, and against anything else on the table, I think this unit is still good enough. So I'm okay with it, but yeah, still hurt. After combat, look at that. The Mongrel Raiders take a charge to the face from 1-up armor save knights with lances, and the lances just totally fluffed their rolls, totally fluffed their to-hit rolls, and the Mongrel stuck. Neither one of us were expecting that. We go to Beast Herds turn 2. So, especially with the movement totem on the Minotaurs, the Minotaur Warlord charged out of the unit and hit the flagellants. So, I think we looked that roll up and determined that if a spell affects a unit, let's say it affects your charge range, that with the character in the unit, when he charges out, he benefits from that spell. And if we have that wrong, please let me know that, because that's going to affect my decisions in the future. Chariot, if you look in the middle left, the Chariot charged his knights that moved up to redirect my Minotaurs. It charged in the flank, so I'm confident I should be able to beat them fairly easily. And on the right, my Longhorn unit with my characters charges the flank of that knight unit. I'm easily going to win that. I like that I'm going to win it and get to reform, and I am all up in his business. Meanwhile, my Feral Hounds and one of my units of 20 ambushers showed up behind his line. So I'm actually really, really liking my position. I am nervous about this. But after combat, flagellants didn't do a single wound. They should have done some wounds to him. I didn't think they should kill him. The problem here is that they always get a strike and they're strength 5. Now this Minotaur Warlord with his current build is toughness 6. But still, I mean, the first round of combat, especially with his 2 buff wagons behind it, they have hatred, +1 to hit, strength 5, so he really should have done some wounds there. The next rounds of combat with the hatred gone, I'm not as worried about it. So anyway. And over here, yeah, Chariot charges this unit of knights in the flank, and I just can't get past his armor. So strength 5 against 1-up armor. Every wound I do, he's got a 3-up, and he just saved all of them. So that was, but I still won. I had a charge in the flank, and didn't matter. Yeah, I think he had a banner. Oh, I'm sorry. And this is after combat. So this I thought was an extremely clever play by my opponent. So I need to do a new video on reforming and stuff. But basically, I charged in. My opponent still didn't do any wounds to me. You can see all the models he's missing. I've cut the unit down by more than a third. Way to go, Minotaur Warlord. But after combat, I'm not able to reform my Warlord. But I couldn't move him, because to move him would mean that I would be removing models from combat. Because the way the rules are written, it doesn't say you just have to keep the same number of models. It's like you cannot remove models. But my opponent can reform, because in theory, the models touching my Minotaur Warlord just stay there and everybody else reforms around him. So let me go up a picture. This is the picture when I charged in. The way it is now, his Prelate on the altar of battle can't charge my Minotaur Warlord because my Feral Hounds are chaffing him up. And I'm trying to do double duty with those Feral Hounds, chaffing the leftmost unit of flagellants as well as the Prelate. But what my opponent did when he reformed is he opened up a path where his Prelate can make that charge, and that is going to hurt. And I go back one. And then that's what I'm thinking. In hindsight, what I need to do is be able to see that is a possibility and use my Feral Hounds to redirect his Prelate, and don't try to do double duty with them unless there's absolutely no way that I can be hurt in the process. And I've had a game since then, and twice now I've made a mistake trying to pull double duty with chaffing. I should have moved the Feral Hounds further to the right and maybe even up a little bit, just making sure that no matter what happened, his Prelate wasn't going to be able to make that charge. And I didn't need those guys on the left shaft. It wasn't really that important. Anyway, over here on the right, we yeah, we beat the knights in combat. My Mongrel Raiders chase them and catch them, I think, or they're gone for the game. Whatever happened, I reformed my general's unit. I'm happy with my position on the right hand side. We go to Empire of Sonnstahl turn 2, and now my opponent is well, in some ways his plan's coming together, and in some ways he's having to really dance around in the backfield. So the advantage my opponent has in the backfield with all of my ambushers is he has a lot of little units. He's got those two artificers that he can use as chaff to slow them down and redirect them so they can't just start charging war machines and lining up overruns and stuff like that. So here in the middle of the table, his knights that failed the charge against the Gortach now make kind of a long ball charge into the rear of this chariot. So he's certainly going to win that. Yes, his Prelate charges out of the way, and then his flagellants, or not his flagellants, but his arcane engine charges my dogs. I thought that was actually kind of interesting because my thinking is if he overruns with them, it's just going to allow me to charge him with my Minotaurs, and there's a chance I will overrun at that point into the flank of his flagellants. If he stays where he is, and I make the charge with my Minotaurs, I certainly overrun into the flank of his flagellants. And if he overruns and hits my Minotaurs, he's going to hold me in place, but I'm still going to kill that thing. This is going to be a problem because when he issues a challenge, I have to accept, and we're going to swap stats. So he's going to get impact hits at strength 6 versus my toughness 4. And I paid a lot of points for regen and a 1-up and a +1 toughness. It's not helping me. Matter of fact, actually, I guess I would be toughness 5. I don't know if I played that right in the game. Anyway, this is not good. I don't know what happened to make these guys. I don't know if they fled. They must have fled something. Oh, his battle standard bearer charged the mongrels. I fled, and in hindsight, I wish I hadn't. But instead, he redirects and comes into this unit. Now, at the time, I'm thinking, right on, man. Bring that. I will destroy this guy. But again, the problem we're having is he has a, I believe, 1-up armor save. And I don't remember if he had a ward save or not. And it is just, even my Beastlord's only strength 5. And strength 5, it's just too hard to get past the armor save. He has a charge and a banner. I will have an extra banner, some extra ranks. But unless I can get through that armor save, he's probably just going to stick around in combat, holding my unit up. We go to the shooting phase. He kills a couple of feral hounds. They take a panic test, have to run off the board. In hindsight, of course, I should have known that would happen. Shooting kills 2 Minotaurs. Shooting and/or magic. And after combat, so we get into a challenge with my Beastlord and this guy. And this guy does a wound to my Beastlord, and I do none back. I couldn't believe it. So he has a charge, a banner, and a wound. I've got 2 banners and 2 ranks. I win by 1. He sticks. And I'm like, darn it. And now, again, I can't even countercharge that Chariot in and hope to get impact hits because now that I'm in a challenge, impact hits aren't going to hurt that guy. Meanwhile, over here, his general came in, and I don't remember if he, I think by the looks of it, he actually killed my Minotaur Warlord. He didn't even break him from combat. He just killed him and then reformed. His arcane engine killed my dogs, overran, and got the charge into my Minotaurs. So I just find it really interesting what's happening in the middle of the table. I like what's happening on the right, or at least I did, but now his battle standard bearer has surprised me with his resilience. My Chariot's dead, he reforms his knights. And we go to Beast Herd's turn 3. So overall, it looks like this. I can't charge anything with my Minotaurs because they're tied up with his arcane engine. Another unit of ambushers comes on. My unit to the right, ambushing unit, can only charge an artificer who's redirecting them. Yeah, after combat, we absolutely destroy the arcane engine. He does, 1 wound, I think, with impact hits. He really didn't do a whole lot. And, so we just stand there to take the charge. And over here, the artificer's dead, and I just reform my my unit of Longhorns, of Wildhorns, to start charging war machines. And we go to Empire of Sonnstahl turn 3. And I was redirecting with my Gargoyles. So if you look on the left, his flagellants charge my Gargoyles, get them off the table. 2 units of knights charge my Minotaurs. It was a bad job reforming. I thought they were both my front. They weren't. So that was dumb. Let's see, and he pulls up his second Artificer to redirect my ambushing unit on the right. So there's that. I don't know. I'm going to kill that unit in front of me. I'm just going to take some wounds. I'm not too worried about that combat. Let's see, over here, he was able to charge the flank of the Chariot. I had to keep the Chariot there because otherwise, I moved the Chariot up instead of charging the War Machine. I moved it up to redirect his Flagellants because I didn't want them charging my General's unit. Yeah, there's that charge. He's going to slaughter those guys. He's trying to force a panic test on these guys, and I think he does, but they pass it. And over here he shoots at him. I don't think... Yeah, I think he forced a panic test maybe, but they passed it as well. And after combat, yeah, he doesn't do too many wounds. I think he peels off a Minotaur. We kill all the ones in front of us, and then we just turn. So I'm going to win this, but I don't love the position of my Minotaurs. Flagellants behind him, you can tell they... Well, let's go here. They easily kill the Chariot, and then his General overruns and charges my General's unit again just to hold him up. Now this guy has the get into a challenge and swap stats. I'm like, dang it, my Beastlord's in there. Darn it, darn it, darn it. And I'm never going to be, he's going to be stubborn, so if I don't kill him, he's just going to sit there the rest of the game. So I could feed him a champion and, just try to do whatever, but don't love my options. Over here, the Gargoyles die, but it kind of puts these Flagellants probably out of the game. Go to Beast Herds, turn 4. So Minotaurs and my General's unit really can't do a whole lot because they're already tied up in combat, and my ambushing units, if you look at the top middle, they charge a unit of bowmen. I should win that pretty easily. And on the right, I charge his last remaining Artificer. After combat, yeah, we kill the Knights, and all I can do is reform. Now, these guys, I think, they've lost combat, I think, so I don't think they're frenzied anymore, but I don't think I want to flee that because I think I would probably just get caught. And if we get into combat, I don't know. I think my Minotaurs do a ton of damage to the Flagellants, and I think the Flagellants just chew through my Minotaurs. It's kind of a Pyrrhic victory. And over here, the ambushing Wildhorns is absolutely fluff. They can't even beat a 10-man unit of skirmishing bowmen, and they get stuck. It's just, oh, darn it. Over here, we killed our Artificer, and we overrun. I think we overrun and hit that mortar, I think. And I think my memory is that in the combat with my General, what I ended up doing was just offering up my champion because my opponent was going to get all those impact hits. So my champion dies, we're stubborn, and then we reform and face him. Now what I'm going to do for the rest of the game is when he issues a challenge, I'm just going to refuse. He's going to make my... The dumb thing I did is when I reformed, I put my General in base-to-base contact with him. And I didn't have to because I wasn't touching him. So what that does is every time when he issues a challenge and I decline, my General stays there and takes away a rank and file model that could be attacking. So what I'm hoping to do is just throw a lot of strength 5 attacks at him, try to get past his armor and ward saves, and just whittle him down. As long as he's not in a challenge, he doesn't threaten me very much. So the risk I'm taking is I'm at leadership 9 because I still have my BSB with the +1 leadership banner. So I'm at leadership 9 rerollable, which is actually pretty okay. Let's see, and then my Minotaurs charge his Flagellants, unless I'm confused. Yeah, there's that. I'm sorry, this is Empire's turn. So his Flagellants charge my Minotaurs. I decided not to flee because, again, I thought he would just catch me, and I'd rather at least try to take this unit down with me. He charges the rear of this unit, which normally I'm thinking, archers are nothing, but apparently neither are Wildhorns. During shooting or something, he I think his cannon snipes my spellcaster who's just hiding over here in a corner. After combat, yeah, I just let my General sit there, and we do 2 wounds to this guy. He's got 5 wounds. So the question is, can I pass all my tests every time and just keep on whittling away wounds on this guy? And over here, yeah, I kill a bunch of him, but yeah, he just has a lot more wounds to absorb things, so he's eventually going to win that. And over here, my Wildhorns got beat because they got charged in the rear and they suck. So wasn't too surprised there. And yeah, the Mongrels from fleeing a long time ago, they've been moving back ever since. And then now they're charging War Machines, so that was nice. Charge War Machines all around. After this round of combat, the 5 remaining Flagellants, that started with 30, killed my Minotaur, and then just turned around. And over here, again, every time it's the same thing. It's just I'm just trying to keep my stuff. I'm trying to get the +1 attack armor piercing 2 totem off. My opponent knows that, so he's stopping that. So I got gnarled hide up. Who cares? And we're just trying to push wounds through. Go to Empire of Sonnstahl turn 5. So, yeah, he's doing what he can with his stuff. His big unit of flagellants, I just need them. I need them to not be able to get in combat with my general's unit, because that would really hurt. Meanwhile, he moves his other unit of flagellants up where you can see him. And after combat, yeah, his cannon's dead. My mongrels couldn't beat his mortar, so they're all just sitting around there. And we go to Beast Herds turn 6. So my Wildhorn unit in the top middle charged his spellcaster, who fled, and then I redirected and charged his flagellants. So his flagellants, there's only 5 left of them. So I'm just hoping I can get enough wounds just to kill those guys outright. But his fleeing spellcaster, that was a huge mistake, because that is now blocking his big unit of flagellants. If he had stood with him, I could have killed him, overran to the other unit of flagellants, and I think even that probably would have stopped him from getting his flagellants into combat with my general's unit. They just can't even walk up or anything. So we've got his general down to 1 wound remaining. He's doing some wounds to me, but for the most part, we're doing okay. But the blooded horn totem went off, and I'm still only able to do 1 wound to him. But I kind of like my plan of just refusing challenges every time. Go to Empire Sonnstahl turn 6. This is the last. Smoke him if you got him. It's the last turn of the game. So you can see my Wildhorns charged his unit of flagellants. I did 3 wounds, so he's down to 2 guys left. He countercharges archers into the flank of those guys, trying to save it. And after combat, the flagellants died to a man. The archers didn't do too much. My Wildhorn stuck, and my general's unit, my BSB ended up dying, but because I think his guy's strength 4 base, but he has a flail, so it's actually he's strength 6, and my BSB was under threat the whole time. But he's dead, but we got his prelate on his altar of battle, so that was a victory, and the game ends like that. So it ended up being just a really close game. It was actually a minor win for the Beast Herds. I think both of us felt like we misplayed some things, but overall it was a whole lot of fun. Interesting challenges with that the Locket of Sunna, making my Beastlord irrelevant and killing my Minotaur Warlord. I think that losing the Gortach early on, losing the Minotaur Warlord early on, I was happy that I was able to come back and even get a minor victory, losing 2 of my heavy hitters from the start. So I was happy enough with the game. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.